Welcome to The Inner Strategy, the blueprint behind bold leadership. I'm Scott Smith, and this is my short-form podcast where every day we're going to tap into timeless truths and modern clarity so you can lead with stillness and strength in our chaotic world. Today's going to be a little bit different. I wanted to do a Memorial Day reflection, a moment of honor. So I invite everybody to pause and reflect for a moment on the quote from Marcus Aurelius. What we do now echoes in eternity. Russell Crowe utters that line in that movie, Gladiator. What we do now echoes in eternity. I want to talk a little bit about Memorial Day weekend, and I want to talk a little bit about Memorial Day. So we're in the middle of Memorial Day weekend. This episode is actually going to come out on Sunday, but today is Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. And it's not just a long weekend. It's a moment to remember and to honor those who have given everything so that we could build something. They gave their lives, as Abraham Lincoln described of those in the Civil War, that last full measure of devotion, their very lives. Real leadership is not always loud. It's not always seen, but it is always without fail felt, especially when it shows up as service and as sacrifice. That's something that I saw in my father. Now, my father was a World War II and Korean War veteran. He fought in the Navy in World War II because his mother wouldn't sign the papers and let him join the Marine Corps because he was underage. But she decided she'd sign the papers and let him join the Navy. And so he spent 4 years in the Navy driving landing barges in the South Pacific for the Marines. And he landed at places like Tarawa, Guam, Peleliu, Hollandia, Bougainville, ATEP, very bloody, horrific battles in the South Pacific. And then he got out of the Navy, miraculously, physically unscathed, and switched services, went through boot camp again so that he could be a Marine, which was always his dream. And then he spent 13 years in the Marine Corps and fought in and was wounded in Korea. December 3rd, 1950, he was wounded in the Chosin Reservoir. A mortar went off to his left. He was sitting on the back of a Jeep. He was a radio operator. He said that all of a sudden his left side went numb, and then he heard the explosion, and he reached over and he put his hand on his hip, and his fingers just went right into his hip, and he pulled out bloody fingers, and he said, "Oh, looks like I'm hit," finished taking the message that he was in the middle of taking down, and then called for assistance. Now, my father didn't give his life. And Memorial Day is honoring those who did give that last full measure of devotion, who gave their lives. But I honor my father because he was a hero, and he was my hero. He served his country. He sacrificed so that I could live here with my family, with his grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and create something that is unique and special, and live a life that he didn't have the same opportunity to live. And so many like him made that sacrifice, have given their lives, have served faithfully, and have bravely stepped into the breach and created those echoes in eternity that Marcus Aurelius describes. So that is the kind of leadership that is not flashy, it's not transactional, but it's generational. It's real, and it's anchored in what matters most. And that's the kind of leadership that I think we should all aspire to. I certainly do. To show up and serve and sacrifice and lead. So wherever you are this weekend, whatever you're doing, take the time. Take even just a quiet moment and remember someone. And if you don't know anyone or don't have anyone in your family who has paid that ultimate price, express prayerful gratitude for those who did, and honor them not just in your words, but in how you feel and in how you show up to lead. Let your life echo something worth remembering, and let that be part of your inner strategy. Let's go. Thanks for spending a few quiet moments with me today. If the inner strategy helps you lead with more presence, power, and purpose, take a moment to share it with someone who needs it. Remember, your legacy is built in the still moments, and your strength is found within. Until next time, lead boldly, live wisely.